This Simpson Diamondback helmet. It's a large helmet compared to a typical motorbike helmet. The shell is very large and deep. You can also tell by the width of the helmet. It weighs just over 1600 grams, which is heavy if you're using it as a motorbike helmet. This is a size comparison between a Simpson RX helmet and the Diamondback, and you can see how much larger the shell is between the two models of Simpson. The RX helmet on the left is your typical motorcycle size helmet, that's what you'd anticipate. So when you see a Diamondback of equivalent size, then you'll see how much larger it is. And just to give you an impression of the depth of the two helmets, you can see it's a lot deeper as well. This Diamondback will be going in for painting, but even so, I wouldn't say that the finish on the standard helmet is particularly good. One of the things to notice is that the shell has dings in it. So for example, here you may be able to see there's a ripple in the surface of the shell in the paintwork, which I'd have thought could have been taken out prior to painting. And similarly, difficult to see, but there are inclusions in the paint as well, dust inclusions. So for a helmet that's in the UK about £500, going on 600 sometimes, then I'd expect this to be built to a higher quality than it is, say, compared to a Shoei or Arai that I consider to be higher end helmets. The lining is also a disappointment. I'd have expected that to be removable. It's not, it's glued in. So if you want to take it out, you have to break all of the hot glue to get it out. The other thing is it's made of Nomex, great for racing. If you're using it on the motorbike though, and you're not wearing a balaclava, then any stubble that you'll have in your face will cause this to pile and eventually wear out. And what I've tended to do in the past is take the lining out and have it replaced here, for example, with leather, and use kevlar on the inside, and this is much better. And then I reinstall it with Velcro and stick it back in. That's a much better way of installing the lining, which I'd have expected that to come as standard on a helmet such as this. But I do get the impression that being a car helmet, gets used for a couple of seasons and then is a disposable item. So I wouldn't pin your hopes too high on this in comparison to other high-end helmets that are out there on the market. Having said that, if you're thinking of buying the equivalent Bandit helmet of the Simpson Diamondback, called the Bandit Crystal, then don't. The Bandit Crystal is absolute rubbish. One of the first things that I noticed on the Crystal is that if you take the helmet and you grip it here and you just squeeze on the Crystal, it collapses. On Diamondback, this is a rigid helmet. There's minimal movement in the shell here. This is a good thick carbon composite helmet. It's made of carbon and Kevlar. It weighs 1600 grams in comparison to the Crystal helmet, which weighs about 950 grams. And in reality, that's way too light for a helmet. A normal motorbike helmet these days weighs about 1300 grams. So the Simpson is a little bit heavy. I mean, in some respects, I'd say that the Simpson, you're carrying virtually another pound of weight in material on your head, which isn't fantastic. for long motorbike rides, but you know what you're getting, so it's one of those things that you have to live with. In comparison to the earlier Simpson helmets like the RX, they came in at about 1700 grams, so bear that in mind. They're not the lightest of helmets. The other thing that I noticed with the Bandit crystal helmet is they've made it with one layer of carbon. If you look at one of my other videos, you'll see me shining light through the shell of the Bandit's helmet. They've made it with one layer of carbon, and you can actually see daylight coming through it. It's just a nonsense for a helmet. So if you're thinking of buying this style of helmet, go for the Simpson. If you're in the UK and you're wondering where to buy it from, then I'd suggest that you get it straight from the States. I'll put the details of who I bought it from down below, and some of the accessories that I got with it. One of the advantages of buying it direct from the States is you get it really quickly. Once you've counted in the cost of the postage and all the accessories that you can get direct from the States, then it's a lot cheaper and it's a lot easier to order. I bought it from one of the largest suppliers of Simpson helmets in America, and I've got a very good service from them. This Simpson is a large size. This is a 59 to 60 centimetre helmet, and that fits me well. So I know that the measuring chart that they supply is a bit difficult to comprehend sometimes, but a large equates to a 59-60 size, and that's a good fitting. As you can see, there's another ding in the surface here in the shell. There you go, you can just pick it up. And you find that generally across the shell. So that's the only other disappointment that I'd say in the build quality of the Simpson. But if you're having your helmet painted, then that sort of thing can be smoother, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But if you're not, then that's just one thing to bear in mind. These helmets come pre-drilled. These are for putting a lanyard and a D-ring for oval track racing to hold the head in position and hold and to mitigate against the G-forces when oval track racing. So you'd normally put one lanyard on there. It's pre-drilled here for the hands device on either side. This is pre-drilled and it's got a screw fitting moulded into the shell of the helmet. This hole isn't fitted with a screw into the shell of the helmet, so if you get a hands device you'll have to get the SA2010 type hands bracket, as opposed to a helmet that's designed for the SA2010, H denoting that it's for it's already adapted for a hands device. So these helmets are SA2010 and they're only drilled, they don't have a pre-moulded screw mounted into the actual shell of the helmet. So that's the only other thing to bear in mind, but for motorcyclists that's pretty much an irrelevance. So on the whole, the Simpson Diamondback helmet, it's a good helmet, I'm pleased with it. This one's going to go in for painting, so in a few weeks I'll post up a video of the finished article. So I'll see you then.